Joe Hendry is TNA Wrestling's biggest star, and this idea was cemented after he won the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship at Genesis 2025, defeating Nick Nemeth and the Odds and winning his first ever World Championship on North American television. This not only culminates a couple of months that have been insane for Joe Hendry, as he has seen some of the biggest momentum he's ever had in his career, but it's also the culmination of almost 2 decades of hard work. Joe Hendry is someone who came up in the British Indies and had made a name for himself internationally as not only one of the most up-and-coming stars in the game, but also someone who was legitimately a nice guy. And that was the thing you always heard about Joe Hendry. Regardless of his in-ring talent, of which he had a lot, regardless of his charisma, of which he had even more, everyone perceives Joe Hendry as one of the most delightful people to be around. And there was always that sense of, at any point, at any time, when this guy does make it, everyone is going to be behind him and everyone is going to be happy for him. And that is precisely what happened when he won the belt at TNA Genesis. It was a culmination of a career as a professional that had taken a lot of twists and turns. Joe Hendry did not just appear out of thin air. He has been doing this, yet he has only recently been recognized. Even the song that Joe Hendry has now, the I Believe in Joe Hendry, is not something that just happened in the past couple of years. This is something that Joe Hendry debuted well before appearing in TNA. This is something that was recorded well before appearing in TNA. He has essentially been preparing himself for the opportunity to be on North American professional wrestling television for his entire career. And there are some people who, when that happens, they may fold or they may not be able to meet that moment. However, Joe Hendry not only took that ball, met that moment, but ran with it all the way across the goal line. And if you look at just everything that has happened over the past year, from the rise of him being one of the most charismatic figures in TNA to him being an attraction in WWE, the Joe Hendry clip of him appearing in NXT was one of WWE's top 3 most watched clips of the entire year of 2024. This was a year where Cody Rhodes won the WWE Championship. This was a year where The Rock, the final boss, made his appearance, made his debut, yet the thing that people were most interested in clicking was Joe Hendry. And it not only speaks to the meme that Joe Hendry kind of created about himself and the buzz that he had, but it speaks to, number one, his ability to stay relevant regardless of everything that's been thrown at him. But number 2, and more importantly, having the wherewithal to use that momentum, to use that hype, to use the meme that has propelled him this far to go as far as he possibly can. And for TNA, this could not have come at a better time. They are gearing up for a couple of shows that are going to be very important to the perception of the company. When you look at the next couple of months, they have a major show in LA where they are trying to sell out an arena that has a max capacity of right around 6,000 people. And then Slammiversary 2025, the big kahuna, where they have to try to sell an arena that can fit between 15 and 20,000 people. Both of which very large tasks for TNA, as their biggest attendance to date is right around 7,000, and that goes all the way back to the original TNA days. So if we're looking at that, they need to be hot, they need to have momentum, and Joe Hendry is definitely going to help things, but what is going to help things more is this deal that TNA has with WWE, as they have entered a partnership, and it looks like you will be seeing TNA talent on WWE shows and WWE talent on TNA shows. And the one person who is going to benefit the most out of all of this, outside of the people who are obviously making money off of both the WWE and TNA, is Joe Hendry, because there is an appetite to see Joe Hendry on WWE television, while at the same time, there is the opportunity for him over the next couple of months to help carry TNA across the finish line into potentially history as they gear up for these next couple of shows. And as we all know, it looks like his contract does run through the end of the year. And for Joe Hendry personally, it comes with a decision. Will he remain with TNA, a company that helped him get this far, a company that gave him the exposure in order to break out on the scene? Or is it going to be the more likely scenario of Joe Hendry calling his shot once again and joining WWE or joining AEW and finally getting that big break that he and his fans have been waiting for over a decade? Regardless of what he chooses, regardless of the path that he goes on, the next couple of months are going to be some of the most important of Joe Hendry's career, but also some of the most fun of Joe Hendry's career. Because for the first time, he is finally the guy. He is the world champion. The show is run around and dictated by what happens to Joe Hendry. He is the main character, and now he gets to show precisely what he can do in that serious role. And for TNA, you have the ability to prove not only to Joe Hendry that you have the wherewithal and the ability to book a champion well, but it's your chance to show other talent in either AEW or WWE who may be disgruntled, or talent who may not be getting used and are hungry to do more, are hungry to carry a brand, are hungry to be that guy that Joe Hendry is now. There's so much potential for everyone involved, and this just seemed to be one of the most perfect culminations that we've seen in professional wrestling in recent memory, as Joe Hendry winning the TNA belt not only exemplifies precisely what hard work can do, but it also shows you that the potential that you have is always going to be able to carry you as far as you possibly want if you are persistent enough, engaging enough as a talent, and of course, if you believe. As far as what Joe Hendry will do over the next couple of months, hey, I guess we'll see.